Okay, welcome to the second of this year's Programming Exam Solution tutorials for the 2015 Comp1 exam. We're going to be looking at changing move rules. Obviously going to be a big part of the exam in some way or other. Could be some evil decision table for section C, but more than likely it's going to be a big section D question. This PowerPoint is going to be just looking at some of the problems, and then I'll do a solution video for each of the possibilities. And there are lots of possibilities. Obviously, the four pieces that are most likely to be changed are the Maraz Pani, the Nabu, the L2 and the Redum, and they're likely to be changed in a way that mimics chess. So, you know, making the queen being able to move any number of moves, including diagonal. Making the Nabu identical to a knight, so 2 forward, 1 to the side, or 2 to the side, 1 forward, jumping over. Also, that's an L2, sorry. The Nabu being a bishop, being able to move any number on the diagonal. The Redum, I don't think it's really likely, and the one I'm going to look at today is that it has the initial move of 2. I've heard talk of the impasser. That'll be a bit subtle, I think, to add an impasser move, and you need to wiki that if you don't know what the impasser move is. Also, if you haven't looked at it so far, then this lovely PowerPoint by a lady called Christine Harvey is available on the Computing at Schools forum, so your teacher might need to download it for you, or chances are someone's already put it on the student rooms. And this allows you to have a go at the game in sort of on screen, and it's well worth a look. So this video is not going to be giving you solutions, but is going to be sort of giving you a flavour for the basic strategies. Just the idea that if you're going to be doing this, you've got to make sure that your rules work for both black and white pieces, and you really have got to have a huge a huge amount of care in how you change the nested selection structures. And crucially, most of the changes for the rules are already in existence elsewhere in the code. So not necessarily copy and paste, but certainly being able to duplicate elements of code and copy and paste if you want. So let's have a little look at the selection structure for the Redum. It's not the most complicated one, but it's not the Sarrum either, which is just very easy. And I've just got the white section of the selection structures listed below, and I've commented what happens or what each line is responsible for. You've got to go and do that. Just get it in your head exactly what each line does, and if you need to, sort of almost write out in long what different elements of the logic is responsible for. So the outermost element of the selection structure for the Redum, in fact for all the pieces apart from the Sarrum, is are we dealing with the white or the black? Because whites move down the board and blacks move up the board, basically, or up the array. And we've then got a first nest, and that first nest, all it is doing is saying, are we moving the rank one piece at a time, one square at a time? Then the second nest says, okay, you've passed the first test. If it is only moving one square at a time, if you're staying in the same file, it better be a blank because you're not allowed to capture going straight on. Or if you're moving diagonally by one, i.e. one file to the left or right, then you better be moving into a square where there is an opponent's piece because you're performing a capture like a pawn normally would. And you can follow that through. If there's anything in that code you are not 100% clear about, you need to be. If there's any fog in your mind about how this code works, you're on a hiding to nothing in the exam. If you're not quite sure about what this little suffix 0 is, you need to make sure you understand how strings behave like an array of characters, and you need to make sure you do that. If you don't know what the abs function does, you need to make sure you do, and just look that up in your language. Obviously I'm using VB here, but hopefully if you've got this up, you could translate this into Pascal or Python or C# fairly simply. The structure is pretty clear. So who cares what the question is? It could be the Redum, it could be the L2 or any of the other pieces. The strategy for the change is pretty much the same. For the rule that the exam board is asking you to change, you should know if another piece has that rule already. If it does, find that rule and you'll be able to just effectively mirror it or duplicate it. If possible, practice making these changes just by changing the Boolean logic of the existing selection structure. I think it is more dangerous in terms of making mistakes to add extra nests in or extra else ifs in to your selections. That said, it's up to you, it's up to your teachers to advise you with that. My preference is to add extra Boolean extra Boolean terms, sorry. Then go through and make the changes methodically from the outer nested ifs to the inner nested ifs. Obviously for some of the pieces, as soon as you're moving multiple squares, there has to be a loop to check that you're not jumping over. And if you don't know how that works, you need to have a look at it for the equivalent of the rook. If there are some other weird rules that have to be placed in the centre, you need to put those in the end. Now I would do all of that just for the white. Get your white section working. So you can see that I've got the rules for black in this else here, and I've just shown you the white. I'll make each of the changes methodically one bit at a time. Then I would test for white. Check the code is behaving as you'd expect it to for the white. Step through it if necessary, and only if you're happy that your changes are good and valid, make those changes for black as well. We're talking about a sizable commitment in time for the exam. So if this is the question that's going to come up, this is going to be a big old set of marks available for it. And there's going to be several tests. So you need to be able to practice performing the tests and evidencing them, as well as actually making the checks. Well, not as bad as we thought. There'll be a solution for the 4 pieces that I have suggested the changes for. I'm going to do the Redum 2 moves forward. I'm going to do making it a knight and making the Nabu identical to a bishop and making the Maraz Pani identical to a queen. And I'll produce solutions for all of those. None of them are particularly nasty. Of course, the other rule possibility is creating the witch. Now, if you've got these nailed first, creating the witch should be an absolute doddle. Hopefully you found that little exposition useful. Feel free to leave comments and ask questions, and I'll try and answer them if I can. And look forward to more videos soon.